joining us now is the architect, the patriarch, the guy that's been coaching for what, Ed, about 87 years now, something like that?
Well, you know what? When Coach Hank started coaching high school football, I was in the first grade. I don't know about you, but that's what I was doing.
Well, if you were in first grade, I wasn't born yet, so that's
Yeah,
kind of what happened.
right.
Hank Tierney of Ponchatoula joining us now. We just, of course, we think the world of this guy as a man and as a coach, and has done this so well for so long. Hey, Coach, listen, thanks for joining us, and congrats on a really good win.
Hey, thank you guys very much. Look, I just got a text from a friend of mine said I'm the only man living that has coached two starting quarterbacks at LSU. And I said to myself, wait, now that's just really an indication of just really how old I am. You know, he's talking about Mickey Guidry and then TJ starting today. You know, so it's probably true. So been doing it a long time, but it's a pleasure to be with you guys as usual.
Oh, that's a really good point too. Mickey, of course, was early '80s, and TJ's
Early 80s, that's
2020.
right.
So that's quite a spread, to say the least.
Yeah,
I
telling you.
reunited with Mickey. I reunited with Mickey when I was doing arena football games in New Orleans, and reunited with Mickey then. He's a good guy and good player.
Oh, he's got his
Excited for
son at
TJ
ULL.
Finley.
He just signed. That's a freshman up there. You know, so
There you go.
been
for
doing
him.
this for a long time and coached a lot of really great people, with Mickey Guidry being one of them.
You bet. You stole my thunder before we talked about the win last night. I wanted to ask you about TJ and what you saw in him that you really liked in him personally, and why you feel he'll be successful at LSU.
Well, you know, when I was sitting here waiting for you guys during the break, I was watching Sports Center. College game day, and they flashed his picture, and then they said LSU will be starting a freshman quarterback from Ponchatoula today, a true freshman. I was like, oh Lord, it really is going to happen. But well, you guys know probably better than anybody that me not running the option is a tremendous upset. And honestly, it's all I have ever done and all I ever wanted to do. And TJ Finley single-handedly got me out of the option. So even with my non-spread skills 5 years ago, watching this kid throw and watching him work and watching him do the things he can do, we said, man, we got to change the offense to fit him because the skill set is so good. But if I had to say his best things, that is just his work ethic. I mean, he obviously can make every throw. We saw that when he was 14 years old. His football IQ is tremendous. His work ethic is unparalleled. And I really think he's been working his entire life to be a Division I quarterback and honestly to be at LSU. And, it's not often that your dreams happen. And, he's in position to make that happen. We certainly are all pulling for him and wish him the best.
Ed?
Coach, I try not to pay too much attention to these recruiting things and these stars and all this other stuff. But
you and me both.
Exactly. I mean, you and I have had that conversation before. But why was TJ a quote-unquote three-star guy coming out of college? I mean, coming out of high school. Where do you think that came from? Any idea?
Well, Ed, I think a lot of it has to do with the numbers and the success that maybe you have in high school. And we didn't win a whole lot of games in 2 to 3 years that he was there. And, we were converting from an option offense, and he put up good numbers, but not ridiculous numbers. Now again, he was invited to the Elite 11, and he did go and he did perform in it and perform quite well. So he was kind of, known a little bit nationally. But I just think that sometimes it's just a publicity deal of, who's hot at the time, and he just, really never got above that three-star deal and had been playing, in 7-on-7s and all that stuff nationally for a long time, so I don't pay much attention to it, but I knew what a great skill set that he had. And I think the biggest indicator is that Steve Ensman offered him before his junior year. Coming off his sophomore year, where, his stats were okay, but, he wasn't tremendously impressive as a sophomore. But Steve saw something in him and offered him before his junior year and then stayed with him through it. And I believed in him. Steve believed in him. And he did have a lot of other offers. Let me also say that. Nick Saban offered him. A lot of really good schools offered him. So, it just all ends up working out in the end.
Matt?
Coach, Ed and I were talking about this yesterday. We were at De La Salle St. Charles Catholic game. You got to imagine South Carolina is going to send the house at TJ every form fashion today with making his first start. Tell us about his composure and his football knowledge to be able to see these blitzes and read them and maintain his composure here, not get flustered when he's got a linebacker coming at him every single play from a different direction each time.
Yeah, I agree. And of course that's Will Muschamp. He's been doing it very well for a long time. And I think if there is a knock on TJ, it would be his mobility. Although he is he's dropped a lot of weight and has gotten a lot more mobile since he left. He's probably down 20 pounds from when he left us in January. But I think that LSU will do a great job of getting the ball out of his hands quick. I think they realize what's going to happen. And I think that they will, go to a quick release, RPO kind of deal where the ball will be in and out of his hands. And I tell you, he called protections at Ponchatoula. I mean, he changed protections at the line. He changed routes. So I think they will have put a plan in that will be so much geared to what he can do, and he will execute that plan that I think that, they will end up using that as a strength rather than as a weakness if they do bring the house, which we all expect them to do. And I think, that'll work out in his favor.
Now, before we talk about Ponchatoula next, 260-1061, Lenny Van Gilder's texted me. He's saying he thinks it's 12 quarterbacks that you've coached now that have played at the college level. Have you kept pace on that? I mean,
No, I haven't, but I will say this, probably only one or two of them play quarterback in college. The rest of them, I'm a fool, but I'm not back a bigger fool, and I'm doing it again with this one I got now. We kind of have always taken our best athlete and put him in quarterback, and go with it from that point. But a whole lot of those kids, Lenny's probably close to the number, have gone on and played, starting with Mickey Guidry, who played quarterback, and ending with T.J. Finley, and a whole bunch in between, most of who have gone on to play, other positions, but were skilled athletes who were, really good kids who worked hard at that craft. But proud of all of them, and they went to parts all over the country. And the big thing is that those guys are all doing quite well right now in life, which is the most important thing, as we all know.
No question. Visiting with Hank Tierney, the head coach of the Ponchatoula Green Wave. All right, 17-14 over Mandeville last night. Mandeville have been scoring a ton of points. They've got a lot of skill. You had to go to their place. This is a big win. I mean, you may have beaten the team that was considered the favorite in your league. So talk about the win itself and the game and why you won the game.
Well, it came down to, two really high-scoring offenses. We scored a lot of points, too. And usually those kind of games come down who plays the best defense. And, both teams really played well. Mandeville could have won just as easily. We won at the end of the game and stopped them on their last drive. But it came down to playing defense in the kicking game, and we were able to do both, which we hadn't been able to do, honestly, even this year. And we thought we would be better on defense, but we were last night. And they have an explosive offense, and they run the ball. We stopped the run and got them throwing, and then we were able to get some pressure on their quarterback. And then we did last night what we needed to do, and y'all know what I'm going to say. We ran the ball. We back running a whole lot of options, and we were able to run the ball and run the clock, and that rested our defense. And so when they went on the field, they were fresh. And then our kicker, who you mentioned, Jake Light, did a great job, not only kicking a winning field goal, but kicking the ball in the end zone on kickoffs, which is an incredible weapon in high school to make a team have to drive 80 yards. So it was a big, probably the biggest win we've had there since 2016, and the kids, they were excited about it, and really played well and I felt deserved to win because, Mandeville's a very good team, very tough place to play. And we're excited at Ponchatoula about it.
Ed?
All right, Coach. So what do you think is going to happen at the end of the year? You think we're going to be playing football in the Superdome or not? What are you hearing?
I'm hearing we're not, and I hope that's not the case. Well, y'all know better than me what's $500 fine you get caught out of the basket. And I know, for example, and this is what we're worried about Ponchatoula, it's 50% capacity now. And I know y'all saw that with the governor's new edict, but your positivity rate has to be staying under 5%. Well, in Tierney Parish, we up over 6% again. So, we're going in the wrong direction from a COVID standpoint right now, as is happening around the state. So and being New Orleans as it is, the way they enforce that, I just don't think it's going to happen. I truly don't, and I hate to blemish this conversation. We have 7 kids out right now with COVID. None of them tested positive, but they all sat by kids in school who did. So it's slowly coming back to our parish and to our town. I mean, Mandeville Fontainebleau lost 2 games, and we worry every day that's going to happen to us. So I don't know. I'm bothered by the resurgence, which they all said would happen, of what seems to be the virus coming back, again for a second run.
Matt?
Coach, you've been around this game a long time. I'm not going to say how long. I'll let Ed and Ken say that, but
87 years.
Okay. So obviously nobody's dealt with anything like this with COVID, but just with what you were talking about there, how challenging is it to keep your kids focused on the task at hand, knowing that some weeks you don't even know if you're playing that week, some weeks you don't know who you're playing that week? How do you keep the kids focused at hand to keep their mind on doing what they need to do and focusing on football when you've got them there practicing, you've got them looking at film, and not thinking about all these outside factors that are going on in the world and completely around them every minute of every day?
Well, we really try every day to talk to them about what they can do to control. They can, stay home on weekends. You don't have to go to every party that's being thrown. Stay home and stay with your family and, wear a mask and do the things that you're supposed to do. And at school, we work out, they got a mask on. In the weight room, in the school they wear a mask. Well, we put 2,000 students in a school that was built for about 1,200, and we all back every day, So there's so many situations where the disease, the virus has a chance to spread. And so we just try to constantly stress, what they got to do. It's kind of weird because when I think we sent home 150 kids this past week, home from school for 14-day quarantines, and 7 of them were football players. And the way they do it is they announce, okay, the following students pack your belongings and go to the library. Well, you hear that announcement, you're like, oh, man, are they going to say this guy? Are they going to say that guy? But you have no control of it other than to stress education to your kids, what they can do to stop it. But other than that, you're at the mercy of the virus and, just hope for the best. And my buddies at Ponchatoula, they've lost 2 games, and then they lost their best running back, great player, Selstein. He didn't play last night. And he was coming off of a 2-week suspension. And he didn't, not suspension, 2-week quarantine. And there was obviously another, infection or something. I was told he didn't play last night. So it's everywhere. And it's going to get all of us sooner or later, and we just are hoping for the best,
Ed?
Yeah, Coach, I tell you what, it's crazy. I mean, I know Kenny and I are on the phone all week long trying to figure out what's going on. And, we get texts and calls from coaches, hey, we're not playing. The game's been canceled. We're playing this team. It's the most unusual thing that I've ever been around. And I thought after Hurricane Katrina, football was a little disjointed, needless to say. But I tell you what, this has been far more problematic, I think, because it just affects everybody.
No doubt. Thursday at 1 o'clock, we lost our first linebacker in the game, who was on 4 special teams. At 1 p.m. Thursday, it was he was proved, as being around someone who was infected, and we lost him the day before the game. And actually, we've been fortunate. We've not had any starting varsity players, have to go into quarantine. So we've been lucky from that end. But it's coming, and we know it. And, we don't have an answer. Y'all don't have an answer. No one has an answer. It's just we are hoping for the best. I just saw the Big Ten. It just said if one of their kids gets infected, it's a 21-day quarantine. 21 days. And that's 3 games. So I don't know. We just going day by day and hoping for the best, like you said.
Unreal. Hank Tierney with us for another minute or two. All right, so out of the fire, into the frying pan. You got what, Slidell next week, correct?
Yes, sir. Larry Fogg and my former player and my former assistant coach, as good a defensive coordinator as there is in the state of Louisiana, Martin Scoble. So I know he'll have something for us. He sends me texts every other day he'll send me a text with some kind of play that we've run. So it will be interesting. And they had a nice win last night, so I know they'll come in ready. We 3-0. So they'll come in ready to knock off 3-0. So it won't get any easier. And we're all home, fortunately. But and then right after them is St. Paul's. So the fun's just starting.
No doubt about that. Ed, final word?
Coach, congratulations. I just thought that was a huge win for you last night. I saw Mandeville against Slidell, and I can vouch for them. They have a good football team, and that for you to go there and to win that game and to win the way you did, I think is really a sign of some real progress. Agree?
I agree. I even got a call from Pete Jenkins this morning. His text was, "Well, you finally played some defense." and he's right. We did really play good defense. My defensive coaches ought to be commended for coming up with a great plan. I guess, like you said, they had a very, very good offense at Mandeville that can hurt you running and throwing. So we're happy to be 3-0 and hoping to cap off a great weekend with a good performance by T.J. Finley.
There you go. Not bad. So Ed and Matt, this Hank Tierney, who's counting, but he's won 282 games. But again, nobody's counting. So,
I thought you were going to say my age again.
Yeah, 282.
Coach,
close anyway. Plus or minus a few, as they say in the political arena. Plus or minus, you're within the margin. Right?
And look, for the record, it's 43 years coaching. Man. My first year, coaching, Ed Ogeron was a junior at South Fuchs. So I'll go way back here.
Coach, Joanne told me that.
As a coach, 34 as a head coach, right?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. 34. That is correct.
Coach, Joanne told me that she thought you had 281 going into the season, not 279.
Yeah, well, she keeps up with all that, and there's some guy from some national service that will call every couple of years and updates, and he had 281. So again, 281, 279. Right. I'm not counting. And again, my plans, to be honest with you guys, is after next year to retire. So no matter what it is, then what, it's more or less or whatever. I'm trying to shut down and maybe get a spot on the three tailgaters.
Anyway,
you guys
you make more money coaching, and believe me, here's the deal. If you don't work on the three tailgaters, you got to deal with Trahan, and that's more headaches than coaching.
I got you. I understand that completely.
If he's a friend who needs enemies, right? So.
Hey, appreciate you guys. Y'all do a great job. I've told you this before for prep football. Man, it's just the way y'all cover it is incredible. And our kids will say, Coach, think we'll be on Friday Night Football night? Well, if we win, we got a chance to be. We always tell them. But hey, thanks for calling me, and thanks for inviting me on your show. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Coach.
Real pleasure. All three of us really appreciate you, and congrats on a great win. Nothing but the best against Slidell next week. Okay, guys. Take care. You got it. That's Hank Tierney. All right, I'm going with 284, Matt. You go with that? I'm good with 284. Okay, all right. If Joanne said 284, I'm going with 284. Ed, you go with that? I'm going with 284. If Joanne tells me it's 281 going into the season, then I'm right there with it.